I'm happy to be a twin. We started something special last year, and there's some more work to be done. When the news that I was coming to Minnesota again broke out, every single player in the roster texted me, and that means the world to me because to earn my teammates' respect in such a short amount of time and their love, for me that's just what it's all about, right?
Well, everybody involved with Minnesota Twins baseball was pleased to hear, at the very least, I mean, that's an understatement, that Carlos Correa would, in fact, be returning on a long-term deal after a tumultuous offseason. Among those happiest is manager Rocco Baldelli, who joins us on the Thursday Stove. Rocco, good morning. Thanks for taking some time. I want to know your initial reaction, where you were, what kind of dialogue you were having with Carlos and your people in Minnesota during all this process, and give us your state of mind about having him back.
Good morning, guys. Yeah, it was certainly a wild couple of days, I would say, and we heard that. Well, I heard that there might be something to it, and I know there have been so many ups and downs for Carlos through this process, but it came together pretty quickly. And Derek Falvey called me, kind of filled me in on the state of what's going on. I don't think he wanted to get me overly excited or tell me too much, but you know, he said, you know, I think there could be something here, and he kind of left it at that for a little while, gave me a few details. And then it wrapped up, honestly, pretty fast. The emotions that Carlos is probably feeling through this whole process is something that I don't think any of us can fully grasp, because I know we were a little bit more up and down through the process than we normally would be. We try to stay kind of relatively calm through all of it, but we got an absolutely phenomenal player and young man. A guy that we're obviously familiar with, so we get a chance to see the ins and outs of what he brings to the table every day. One of the smartest players in the game, on top of the great defense, on top of hitting in the 2-hole for us and being so productive and being on base all year long. Honestly, it's like having another staff member on the field during these games, and he's such an uplifting guy for all of our other players. He coaches them in some ways, but he's doing it in a way that's really empowering those guys and pushing them to the next level in their career. So it's just a tremendous day for us and for the community.
It's a tremendous day for your lineup too. Rocco, can you excuse me, can you timeline this? Like when the Giants deal excuse me, falls through, is that kind of when conversation started, or was it the Mets deal? Because I don't know, we hear that they got creative, and the Twins I think had to get creative, but was this, I know it all came to fruition quickly, but are they keeping you in the loop basically day in, day out? Hey, we got a chance, we're talking?
I talk to Derek all the time, so I talk to him throughout the whole Giants and Carlos process. And then I think it was, after maybe a little bit of a lull in the the announcement after the Mets process. But I think that's when it kind of livened up. I don't know obviously every text or every, call that he's shooting out or getting. But he lets me know when there's something, that's going to be worth our time. And obviously when we heard this was a real possibility, everyone went to work on it all over again. And like I said, that process of actually the conversations actually did come together fast once I think we reconnected with Carlos. I talked to him a couple of times over the over this winter about different things. I saw Carlos in California when we were out there for the winter meetings, and he handled all of this so well, about as well as any human being could, and he understands everything that goes into it. So I wasn't worried about him, but I wanted to keep checking on him to make sure he was doing fine and his family was doing fine. But I think he's ecstatic to be coming back to the Twins, and we couldn't be happier. He brings everything together so well. A keystone type of guy where you look at the lineup now, you look at what he does defensively to kind of bring the whole infield together. And like I said, the off the field stuff is the real, truly special stuff that this guy brings.
I mean, a much different feeling lineup for you to dream on now with Carlos. It's amazing what a difference a few weeks would make, right? Before the Twins signed Joey Gallo, before you knew that you had Carlos back, a very different feeling thing. So at what point, Rocco, as a manager, do you start scheming and dreaming about lineup combinations and what you're going to look like in spring?
All off season long, and we get our staff involved, and we get all of our guys kind of discussing and talking about all the different possibilities. And with Carlos, like I said, the at-bats are so fantastic, and you put him up towards the top somewhere. Again, we had him in the 2-hole mainly last year. He handles that spot in the order really well. I think he shows the rest of the lineup kind of what a certain pitcher is bringing on a particular day, and he's always thinking, and he's up there. He swings at strikes, he takes the balls, and he hits line drives all over the field. You know, we talk about all of the changes in kind of offensive play these days. We talk about it all the time. Everyone does, but he's really truly a guy that shoots hard line drives all over the field. He adjusts when he needs to, later in the count. He brings all of those kind of traditional things that don't get talked about as much, and he does them really, really well. So the lineup looks good. I really like what our lineup looks like. Obviously, time will tell as the season goes on, but I think, you put him in there, it kind of moves some guys around a little bit, maybe moves some guys down, and it gets really, it thickens it out. And I know you guys have been using that word a lot on the shows, but it really does thicken that lineup out where it stretches it, and you feel good, every inning, no matter who's coming up.
There's two interesting guys, Rocco, that I see potentially in that lineup. What can Christian Vasquez and Joey Gallo bring? Because I think the shift, or lack thereof, is going to help someone like Gallo. And Vasquez is a guy that, is known to really work well with the staff. And to be honest, the staff you guys are throwing out there, we're going to need complete years and some consistency out of those guys. What can Vasquez and Gallo bring to the table?
Yeah, Christian Vasquez, I think, is going to be as important as any player that we have. His ability to connect with his staff, to know what a particular guy is going to need on a day. He's so smart. I've watched him for a long time. I've watched him with the Red Sox for many years, and he's such an impressive guy. And you kind of look and you kind of watch. You see how he feels out different spots in the game where he knows he's got something to do or something to say. And he's a guy that you have a lot of faith in. Turning your staff over to him in a lot of ways. So we're going to see him. I think leading our team in a lot of different spots, and that feels good. That feels good from my end. That feels good from our staff's end. So on the offensive end, he always finds a way to put the ball in play, make something happen. Kind of a line drive, contact that, but he'll pop a few home runs too. So when people are on base and you need someone to think a little bit, put the ball in play, make something happen, he does it. Joey Gallo, my God. We talk about the talent. I like to set that aside for a second. He walks into a room or the ballpark, and you look at him. It's hard not to take your eyes off the guy. But does so many things to actually help you win. Jace Tingler had him and knows him very well. So he told me, he's like, this guy's an instinctual ball player. This guy can play defense. He can go out into center field even if you need him to. He's super competitive. And we've seen what he can do when he makes those small adjustments at the plate. Nothing has changed with him. All of that great ability is still there, and we can't wait to start working with him.
Hey, Rocco, Harold Reynolds is usually on this show, as you may or may not know. He is in Arizona right now getting ready for the Dream Series, but we have him on the phone. He wants to ask you a couple questions. Harold, we got Harold. Here he is.
What's happening, brother? How you doing?
What's up, Harold? I never know if you're going to come with a joke or something, or if we're going to end up on one of those sound bites that we end up using over and over again. But I'm ready for you, man. It's good to hear from you.
You look like you're at some Cuban restaurant in Cuba.
I'm up in Rhode Island right now. It's nice and quiet outside.
How far is your home from Minnesota?
I'm up in Rhode Island, so we got about a 3+ hour flight from from Boston to get to Minnesota directly. No directs from Providence, so it takes me a little while to get there.
Now, who shot all those deer in the background?
You know what? Those are some sheepskins from the farm down the street. One of the pluses of being over here, you know, go get your meat at the farm, and you know, you leave the you know, the sheepskins that you pick up. The baby likes to play on them, so we throw them on the back of the chair, and she rubs up against them, so it's fun. Harold,
you had that suggestion for Rocco. We were talking yesterday, Rocco, about the keys to keeping guys healthy, and as it relates to somebody important to you like Byron Buxton, and Harold has some philosophies on those. Harold, hit Rocco with your injury philosophies.
They take your blood, spin it, shoot it back into the injury.
Come on, man. You're no doctor. Knock it off. Say goodbye.
Sayonara.
All right, sayonara. Rocco, thanks for being with us, man. We appreciate the insights on getting Carlos Correa back. Thanks for taking some time with us, and we're looking forward to seeing you in camp in a few short weeks. I mean, it's not that long away.
It's there.
It's coming, guys. It's great to be here with you today. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Rocco Baldelli joining us on the Thursday Stove.
You're unbelievable.
Hi, Lauren. Good morning.
Hi. Good morning. Rocco watches his show. You can't fool him. He's
we weren't trying to fool him. He played along.
You know what's great about
Rocco? He might be the nicest guy in the world.
He doesn't give one-word answers.
He's awesome.
Great.
There is a reason
he's
so highly thought of there, too, by the way. Yep. I mean, he's got a chance to be there for 30 years.
I love it there. I love how Carlos Correa said his son has a chance to grow up Minnesota nice, Kylo. That was cool.
Minnesota nice.
Yeah, that's
you know what I wanted to ask? I wanted to ask Rocco, actually. I wanted to ask him for a moment where, because he played with Carlos Pena for such a long time. I want to ask him if Carlos ever had a jerk moment in his life. Because he's another guy that's so nice and kind to everybody. Give me a moment where the Prince of Plakata was a jerk.
I think Rocco's still on the line. He hung around even though you're all your shenanigans.
No. We don't want to. I don't want to put him on the spot that way.
All right. I'll say goodbye. Good morning, by the way.
Hi. Good morning.
I've decided something. We need to get out of Secaucus.